Breaking news coming in this hour, the Pakistani Army has a new chief. Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif has appointed Lieutenant General Raheel Sharif as the new chief of the Army staff. He takes charge on Friday after the present Army Chief Gen Kayani retires. Currently, Lieutenant General Sharif is the Inspector General Training and Evaluation and was also the Commander Gujranwala 13 Corps. In another major appointment, Lieutenant General Rashid Mahmood has been appointed as Chairman of Joint Chiefs of Staff Committee. Crucial developments there across the border. The change of guard finally complete. The news we're getting in is that the new chief of the Pakistani Army is going to be Lieutenant General Raheel Sharif. Another major appointment that has just been announced is the appointment of Lieutenant General Rashid Mahmood as the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff Committee. For more, let's get in a word from our correspondent Hamza Amir, who's joining us from Islamabad. These are, Hamza, crucial developments. Finally, a change of guard in place in Islamabad.
Well, yes, it is going to be a change of guard and a very important one because Joint Chiefs of Staff Committee and also the Chief of Army Staff are going to be stepping down respectively, and then a new the establishment is going to come in place. Now, what is important is two people who are in line to be the Chief of Army Staff and Joint Chief of Staff Committee are also very influential, but they might not be as influential as General Kayani. But yes, they are known to be very influential as far as taking care of the leadership in Pakistan is concerned. So that might be a very major step going forward, keeping in view that Pakistan is already on a stretched ties with its US allies, and also the federal government is also under a lot of pressure from the domestic forces. So what role will these army officials, the new who come in power, are going to play is going to be very important.
Right, Hamza, stay on with us. Let's also get in a word from our Strategic Affairs Editor, Gaurav Sawant, who's joining us from our newsroom this afternoon. Gaurav, once again, we're coming to you. Crucial developments in Pakistan. The country has got a new Chief of Army Staff. Considering the kind of tension that we were seeing between Nawaz Sharif and Kayani, how are things likely to go ahead from this point onwards?
It's a big gamble by Nawaz Sharif because once again he hasn't towed General Kayani's line, it seems, because General Kayani was more in favor, at least that is what indications from Islamabad were, that he was more in favor of DG ISI taking over as the next army chief. That is what sources were telling headlines today, but clearly that hasn't happened. It's a fellow Lahoria, if I may, who's been appointed as the next Chief of Army Staff, someone who is actually Nawaz Sharif's neighbor, somebody who Nawaz Sharif actually feels close to, and someone perhaps who Nawaz Sharif thinks that he can trust in the times to come. Nawaz Sharif has had a very tricky relations with the Pakistan Army. The last time he tried to upset the chain of command, he was ousted from the country. And let me put that question to Hamza Amir. Hamza, considering that General Raheel has been appointed as the next Chief of Army Staff, he wasn't the first choice here, even within the army.
Well, you're right, because he was actually the second in as far as the choices from the Nawaz Sharif family was concerned, because the first choice was General Raheel, and he was supposed to be from the intelligence. And now, when General Sharif now is going to actually come in power, then it is very important that, it might be a very negative point on Mr. Nawaz Sharif, and also it might actually turn up to be a positive one, because
yes,
this is the only fear that he actually suffers right now. See, in Pakistan, the NATO supplies are blocked by the KPK, that is not ruled by Nawaz Sharif.
Yes.
And he has very strong forces that are actually acting against him to actually declare him as a failure as ruling the Pakistani political front is concerned, and the army has a role play. Very important one to actually do. And now I think he's bringing someone who he trusts, and he also trusts that after bringing one man in power who actually he can look up to, the army actually can stay in control, and he actually can also have a little better time and a little better breather for himself as far as fears of another military coup, another toppling of government.
But is that a fear?
Clash with
Is that
army.
a fear, Hamza, or is the army taking this the way it is, considering that the army in the past did not accept Nawaz Sharif when he tried to remove General Musharraf? There was a coup, but this time the man he's brought in place was at that point of time, at one point of time, Gujranwala Corps commander. He was considered very close both to General Parvez Musharraf, to an extent to Kayani, but not as close to Kayani as was General Zahirul Islam. So how does this pan out? Is the Pakistan army okay with this, or are they unhappy that General Harun didn't make it? Are they unhappy that General Zahirul Islam didn't make it? How is the Pakistan army reacting to it? What are your sources telling you?
I tell you, as far as, election of Chief of Army Staff or Joint Chief of Staff Committee is concerned in Pakistan, I don't think the political front has any say in that. If they would want General Harun to come as Chief of Army Staff, I don't think Nawaz Sharif would do anything about it. What they do is they only approve the summary that comes from the army. So this is what this strength is in front of the army. Secondly, as far as fears of a clash is concerned, yes, there have always been fears of clash between the Nawaz Sharif government and the army, especially at this time when, US wants to go out. US actually accepts Pakistani army to go out on another option in the Waziristan front, while
Yes.
Pakistani government is not doing so. At the same time, the army also is reluctant. So I think they are trying to actually, strengthen themselves as far as their domestic, internal strength is concerned. And also, he's also trying to write this fact out that, if in any case, army actually comes in line with the United States or any other
Yes.
external power, then his government should not be toppled, because this is the extreme fear that he actually suffers from day one.
Oh, absolutely, Hamza. For the moment, many thanks for joining us. But Pakistan Army retaining both the Chief of the Army Staff and Chairman Joint Chiefs of Staff Committee posts. It did not go out by rotation as was anticipated, as was expected. Simi, major changes taking place in the Pakistan Army, but clearly we'll have to see how their India policy pans out in the times to come.